turn on the bell. Hit the notifications button.
Yeah, turn the bell on.
Subscribe. God, dude, that drives me nuts when
Turn that bell on.
We're like, please, it takes you no effort and no time.
How about
please
those
just
videos?
like and subscribe.
I've noticed the statistics say that 80% of you aren't subscribed. Please support our channel and subscribe. Like, dude, I watched like 2 videos. What's up, our roommates? Davo and Willis.
What's up, everybody?
Here again. Willis got the fresh new shirt on.
I do. Shout out to old Davo over here. Hooked me up. Appreciate you, bro.
He's got what's called cuts shirts, all right? Guys, if you looking to get nice quality t-shirts that just make you look like a boss. Cuts shirts.
Did you just feel me up?
No, it's fixing your sleeve.
Oh, okay.
Your sleeve
Thanks,
is a little folded here or something like this. I don't know. It's like rolled. I can't even fix it. You see it.
It happens.
You see that? You probably can. It's because it's black. All right. What am I doing? What am I doing right now? We're talking about a passage of the Bible that I remember. I think there was a lot of passages when I was fresh to giving my life over to the Lord, really surrendering my life over to the Lord, that meant a lot to me. And this is one of them. So when it came up recently in our ministering staff prayer, because I felt like we were talking about this on Monday.
We were, yeah.
I just remembered how like passionate I was about this passage. And so I was like, man, I want to talk about it. So Luke chapter 9, end of the chapter, long chapter, starting at verse 57, okay? All the way at the end of the chapter, goes like this. As they were walking along the road, a man said to him, I will follow you, Jesus, wherever you go. Jesus replied, foxes have dens and birds have nests, but the Son of Man has no place to lay his head. He said to another man, follow me. But he replied, Lord, first let me go and bury my father. Jesus said to him, let the dead bury their own dead, but you go and proclaim the kingdom of God. Still another said, I will follow you, Lord, but first let me go back and say goodbye to my family. Jesus replied, no one who puts his hand to the plow and looks back is fit for service in the kingdom of God.
And this in my Bible's the subtitle here, or the heading, is the cost of following Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
This is reading this. If you just read this for the first time, right? This might like shock you a little bit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's a little shocking, but also, I don't know, like, I'm not going to speak universally for everybody, but it did something in me, and that I was like, I want that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I want to follow Jesus to that level of like, man, I'm not looking back at all. And so just want to talk about the fact of there's cost to following Jesus. There's cost to discipleship. And that's why Jesus says to count the cost before you follow him. What wise person doesn't count the cost? And so Jesus and God and Scripture, it's not naive. It's not deceptive in that there's a cost to following Christ and to proclaiming you're a Christian, to giving your life over to Jesus. But, right, the message behind that is it's so worth it. There's nothing more. There's nothing you could do that's worth more than. So.
And I think the passage that I go to in Luke, which is along the same exact line here, it's in Luke chapter 14. It says the cost of being a disciple. And I'll just read the first little part here in verse 25. Large crowds were traveling with Jesus, and turning to them, he said, if anyone comes to me and does not hate father and mother, wife and children, brothers and sisters, yes, even their own life, such a person cannot be my disciple. And whoever does not carry their cross and follow me cannot be my disciple.
Mm-hmm.
So pretty bold statements there by Jesus.
Yeah.
Right?
Two absolute, like, it's me or nothing.
Yeah. Bombs. And do you think that Jesus is saying, I don't care that your dad just died? And in Luke chapter 9 and then in Luke chapter 14, he's literally saying you need to hate your family and yourself.
Oh, you're asking me?
Yeah,
I
I'm
thought that
asking
was
you.
going to be rhetorical. No, right? But what is it saying? It's saying, how I've always read it is, it's like in comparison to following Christ, in comparison to your love for the Lord, your surrender to the Lord, it shouldn't be a question. If you have to choose between family and devotion and loyalty to the Lord, family and doing what's right in the eyes of God, there shouldn't be a single second of hesitation. It
Yeah.
should be Jesus. It's always Jesus.
Yeah, and contextually here in Luke chapter 9, when the son is talking about, like, let me go bury my father first, a part of that would have been that the son was wanting to go collect his inheritance from his father. And so he's like, partially, let me go bury my father, but also let me go collect my inheritance, and then I'll follow you.
Yeah.
And so that kind of adds an element of understanding in my mind, too, of...
It's more than just like, don't go to your dad's funeral.
Yeah.
It's like, what are you really after? I feel like that's what it's almost like. Christ is like, what are you actually?
Yeah.
You're after the money. You want to go get your money.
Yeah.
So I think the reason I was so passionate about this, because I felt like when I was in high school, and I felt like I learned it. It's not that I wasn't taught it, but I don't think it ever landed with me. And then in high school, when I really surrendered my life, it did, was like, there's a cost to following Jesus. You can't follow Jesus and chase after everything the world offers you. And I guess through listening to different speakers, talking to people at times, like sometimes I've understood that that's not made clear to people. That, like, yes, surrendering your life to Jesus comes with a lot of blessing and comes with fulfillment and purpose and peace, but there's also a lot of cost to it, especially as it relates to this life in this world. And so I kind of want to ask you, like, is there something you can point to that you feel like cost you, like what has cost you in following Christ, when it talks about, like, obviously it's kind of metaphorical, but it's like the Son of Man has nowhere to lay his head. No one, don't say goodbye to your family. Look forward to what we got, what I want you to do. Can you think of a way it cost you when you made that decision?
I'm going to back up to something you said, and then
Okay.
if I forget, remind me to answer this question again. Okay?
Yeah, I got you.
All right. I think
Okay.
some churches, I don't want to generalize all churches, some churches do the gospel a disservice by not emphasizing the cost of following Jesus. And we live in a culture where, like, modern preaching is like, give your life to the Lord, and these are all the things that you get. It's the prosperity gospel. Like, you're going to get all these things in return, like finances and wealth, and he's going to make your life amazing if you follow him.
Yeah.
Okay, then you look at the words of Jesus, and he's saying, I don't even have a place to lay my own head at night. Okay?
Yeah.
The animals, okay, foxes have their dens, right? Even the foxes have a place to lay their head at night. They have a place to call home. I don't. Why? Why doesn't he? Well, the heart of that is because he's on a mission, man. Like, he's on a mission to seek and save the lost.
He's on a mission, and I always took it too as like, this isn't his home.
Yeah. So
He's not interested in being comfortable in this life.
Exactly. So it's the gospel has done a real disservice when you don't tell people the cost.
That there should be a cost.
Yeah, that there should be a cost. And it shouldn't just be like, okay, yeah, this is it, and now I'm going to get blessed up in all these materialistic ways. My life is going to be amazing. No, Jesus never talks about that.
Yeah.
He talks about the sacrifice that is going to come with following him. With the understanding, like you said, David, that this is not our home, and that we we have an eternal home.
Yeah.
So
And I think, and like you said, like there's a lot of churches and people that want to try to skirt around that when they tell the gospel. And
Yeah,
I think in turn, they're not really telling the gospel.
no, they're like, well, this could be too hard for people to hear, or maybe this is too offensive.
Yeah.
Bro, I mean, imagine people's reaction to hearing this when Jesus said this. They left.
Yeah.
They left. They said, oh, okay, I'm done.
Yeah, that guy.
Right? Like, think about all the different little stories. Like the story of the rich young ruler, right?
Yeah.
Jesus told him the cost, sell everything and follow me. And what's he do? He goes away disappointed because he wasn't willing to follow Jesus at all costs.
Yeah.
And like what I don't want to communicate in this is that you need to sell everything.
Right.
Okay, but you need to be willing to.
Oh.
Right? You need to be willing to.
Do you want to get to my question I asked you, or can I tell a story?
Yeah, go ahead with your story. Yeah.
Okay. This is a wild story, but it was really cool. It's one of those few moments that I'm like, I feel like I hear people tell stories like this, and I'm like, I wish I had stories like that. Here's my one story. So Lauren and I were on the beach in Florida. Yeah, in Florida. We were visiting her high school friend. We just went to the beach for a day. And Lauren and I, to be totally honest, like we were kind of having a fight, and we took a walk on the beach to like talk it out. So we got down to this end of the beach where there weren't a lot of people around. There were like 2 people around us. One of them was like fishing, I think. And so we're sitting there like on the where the what's the water that comes in on the sand called? The tide?
Yeah, the tide, the waves, the shore.
Yeah, what's the Jimmy Buff say? Is the tide's gonna reach my chair? Yeah, the tide. Yeah, the tide. It's the tide. We were sitting there like where the sand and the water meet, and this guy comes up to us, and he's like, I feel like I just need to come talk to you guys. Like there's something about you guys that I felt like I need to come talk to you guys, and I don't know why. And Lauren and I were like, well, we're Christians. I don't know if like that means anything to you, but we believe in God and Jesus. And he was like, oh man, you know, I used to go to church. He said, but you know, I never was able to give my life over to Jesus because there's this one story in the Bible that I can't get over. And I was like, all right, well, let's talk about it. Like, and he told the story of the rich young ruler, and he was like, you know, like, I just don't know if I can sell everything I have, like, if that's what I have to do to follow Jesus. And I was able to tell him, like, no. The point behind that story isn't all of us have to go sell everything we have. The point of that story is Jesus knew this guy was checking all the boxes, but his heart still had an idol.
The most important thing in his life was his wealth.
Was money, was possessions as well.
Right?
Like, and he wasn't willing to give that up to follow Christ.
Yeah.
And Christ knew that and said, give that up, and then you can follow me. Then you can be my disciple. And Christ knew he couldn't do it. And I was like, so it's not that you have to go sell everything. It's that what is it in your life that your flesh doesn't want to surrender, that doesn't want to give it up to Christ to follow Jesus? And he like, it was so cool. Like he literally cried. He's like, no one's ever explained that to me. He's like, I feel like I can follow Jesus then. And I was like, yeah, man. I was like, you don't have to go sell everything you have, but you have to be willing to sacrifice whatever it is that is an idol in your life to put Jesus first. But
don't ignore that, man. Don't ignore it.
So what was that for you though?
Yeah, I have 2 things that come to my mind. But I will say, like, do not, just because it doesn't mean you have to sell everything right now. Don't ignore it when he calls you to do it. Because we can also take that to the other side of the pendulum where we're like, well, he's not saying we all have to sell anything.
Yeah.
And then we take it to the opposite side of the pendulum and he's like, well, I don't think he's calling me to do that.
Yeah.
You know, like, no, we need to be in tune with what he's calling us to sacrifice. We need to be willing to do that. So the 2 things after I surrendered my life to Christ, my senior year, he rescued me. The 2 like costs that the one immediate cost in my life was that I was kind of alone for a decent part of the rest of my junior year and the beginning of my senior year. Like I was kind of outcast by my friends a lot, and like I had one friend say to me, "If you don't come out and drink with us this weekend, I'm not being your friend anymore." We're still friends, like, you know. But like I had to be like, okay, I guess I'm just gonna sit in my room alone tonight
Yeah.
because they're all going out and doing their thing, like what I used to do,
Yeah.
you know? And so there was a lot of times, dude, where I'll be honest, like I just sat in my room and cried, like through some of those months, because I was like, this is hard, dude, you know?
This feels like a lot of loss.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, that was a tough period of my life, and not feeling like I had like a community to belong in necessarily.
Yeah.
And my senior year, I really found that on campus, and then found that coming home too. But that was a big cost for me, was like, I'm going to have to, like the cost of pleasing others. Like I'm going to have to disappoint people.
Mm-hmm.
People are not going to like me as much. I might not be like the life of the party anymore, you know? And so that was one cost that comes to my mind. The other cost was probably my career path too. I was really dead set on going into real estate, and I had like a mentor in real estate. I took him out to breakfast every Tuesday morning, bought him an egg sandwich,
Yeah.
and he just told me like all the
secrets.
all the secrets, man. He was kind of training me.
Tips and tricks.
I had an internship with a real estate company after my sophomore year of college, and my main focus was I want to make as much money as possible.
Yeah.
And I had all these huge goals, and like going into ministry, when the Lord called me to that, financial security was like a big thing in my life that I had to say, I'm willing to not have all of the materialistic things that this world has to offer.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm willing to accept that the rest of my life I might struggle with bills. Like I might struggle with finances because nobody goes into ministry for money.
Yeah.
You know? Well, I shouldn't say no one. There are some people.
The people that do are not in it for the right reason.
But yeah, those are two
Yeah.
like costs that come to my mind. What about you?
Yeah, there's two that come to my mind, and one would be ministry, pursuing the call to ministry. And did we talk about this? I feel like we talked about this recently, or maybe it was just a conversation we had. But right, the call to ministry is a sacrifice. You're putting a lot on the altar. You're putting your financial potential. You're putting your family time, your ego, your people, affirming you, and just you're putting a lot on the altar when it comes to pursuing ministry. So I think that's definitely one. And for me, it was something though that I was pretty eager to do.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if we said this before, or I've said this, or we were talking, but man, if you feel that call to ministry on your heart, the worst thing you can do is run away from it. No matter how much you think it's going to cost you, it is going to cost you way more to ignore that call. The second thing was, and I feel weird saying it because in some ways I didn't end up giving this up, but it's still a really big part of my life and story, is through my freshman, sophomore, and beginning of junior year of college, I was really considering being single for my whole life. And I read the passage. If you don't know the passage, there's a passage in the Gospels where Jesus says, essentially, to the one who can remain single, let him hear this. And those who have ears, let him hear it. And I felt like that passage spoke to me. I was like, I feel like I can hear it. And that was devastating for me because I always wanted to be a dad. I wanted to have a wife one day. I wanted to have a romantic relationship in my life. But I was like, I look at Paul, I look at Christ, and it's like, man, they didn't have a wife, and they they had a great life. They glorified the Lord.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, what if God's asking me to give that up so I can give even more to the kingdom of God? And like you said, like, dude, I spent so many nights in my dorm room crying over my desk and my devotional and my journal because I was like, God, I don't want to do that. Like, I want to have a wife. But I came to a point where I was like, you know what? If being obedient and faithful to God means giving up this blessing in life, then I'd rather do that because I'd rather give everything I can over to the Lord than try to grasp for something that is good but not something God is calling me to. And then what's amazing is Lauren was there too. Lauren kind of really yeah, because you have to put yourself in the shoes of a young lady who's 21 years old, 22 years old, finishing her degree, who wants to be a wife and a mom. So she doesn't want to work. She wants to be a wife and a mom. But until that happens, she has to support herself.
Yeah.
And so she's like trying to figure out, am I going to have somebody to support me so I can be a wife and a mom one day? Or am I going to have to work for myself? How long am I going to have to work for myself if that comes along? And she came to a point where she was like, you know what, God? If this isn't something you have in the cards for me for the next however many years, then okay.
Yeah.
And then my junior year, 2022 is when 2022 is when we met. And then about a little over a year later, we got married. So.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah.
You okay?
Yeah, I'm good, man. I'm just listening.
Oh, okay. I'm done.
Yeah, that's those times are tough, man. Like when you feel like you're the letting go process, like the surrendering process of things. We're going to have to continue to face that our whole lives. And that can be tough. Like walking through those seasons. I know that was like a really emotional season for me. It sounds like it was an emotional season for you. And yeah,
dude,
like
and I read Jonah over and over again because Jonah runs away from his calling. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm Jonah. I'm running away from this calling.
How did you work through that though? Like how did you discern that God wasn't calling you to singleness?
That's a great question. Because I think I said, I felt like I looked at what Paul says about in Corinthians about if you burn with passion for someone, you know, it's better to get married than to burn with passion. And that doesn't mean if you just want to be married and be able to have a physical, intimate relationship. That means you have this love for somebody that is not just physical. It's there's this passion for a person. And I resolved that until the Lord brought and made it clear like that who that person was in my life, then I'm to be single.
Yeah.
And so I stopped looking. But right, like I'm sure you can relate to this and high schoolers and can relate to this. Like there's so much in you that wants to look and try to find who that person is.
Yeah.
And so, but I stopped. I said, I'm not looking anymore. I'm not asking people out anymore. I'm not looking to see if like who I might want to ask out. I'm just gonna let the Lord make it really clear. And then Lauren popped in my life. And then I told the story in TNT not long ago. Then in our friendship, because we were just friends, Lauren called me out in sin. Have I told you that story?
Yeah.
Lauren called me out in some sin and basically said, you were not living for Christ tonight. And that was when my respect and admiration went to this passion that I was like, I have to marry her. I literally thought that night. I'll tell people all the time. I literally thought that night I'm gonna marry this woman. Cause who, like, how much do you have to love somebody to call them out of their sin?
Yeah.
Like, and I was just like, man, I have to marry her. But I wasn't looking for it.
So what I'm hearing you say is, like, even though God might call us to sacrifice or surrender something, that doesn't mean it's for the rest of our lives.
Right.
That could be a seasonal thing. Like, he's calling us to surrender something for a season.
Yeah.
But I think, like, wrapping up this episode, I want all of you listening to know that the cost...
Listen up. Sorry.
I want all of you to know that the cost of following Jesus is immense. But it's also a joy.
And it's worth it.
It's worth it, man. And maybe he's calling you to surrender or sacrifice something for your whole life. Or maybe he's calling you to surrender or sacrifice something for a season. But regardless, when the Holy Spirit leads you and guides you to surrender, you best do it.
Yeah.
You best do it. So what is that thing for you? Listening. Ask yourself that question.
Comment.
All right, that's it. We're done.
Comment. What is that thing for you? For the world to see.
Turn on the bell. Hit the notifications button.
Yeah, turn the bell on.
Like, subscribe. God, dude, that drives me nuts. When
Turn that bell on.
We're like, please, it takes you no effort and no time.
How
Please,
about
please
those
just
videos?
like and subscribe.
I've noticed, the statistics say that 80% of you aren't subscribed. Please support our channel and subscribe. Like, dude, I watched like 2 videos a year.
Yeah, who cares, bro?
All right, I'm subscribed to.
I keep my subscribed list like my top.
Dr.
people,
John
bro.
Deloney.
He's good. I subscribe to him. And I got a couple others, I think, too. But
Jefferson Fisher.
I don't know.
He's a cool guy.
You don't gotta like and comment and
Community
subscribe.
Bible Church.
But if you want a topic or you want to hear us talk about something, let us know.
Yeah.
That's what I would say. Comment, give us,
Yeah.
or just email us. You know?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
all right, bro. That's it.